Let us discuss dental articulators. So first of all, what do you mean by articulators? Articulator is a mechanical device that represents the temporomandibular joints and the jaw members to which maxillary and mandibular cast may be attached to simulate some or all mandibular movements. This is the articulator. The picture represents the upper and lower members, how they are attached with each other through the TMJ. So this assembly simulates the TMJ. So what are the various purpose of articulator? It is used to hold maxillary and mandibular cast in a determined fixed relationship, right? In a fixed relationship. Second, it simulates jaw movements and also produce border movements, right? So what are the basic uses of articulator? So everybody knows, I think all the dental students are very well known to articulator. It is used to diagnose the state of occlusion in both natural and artificial dentition, right? It aid in fabrication of restoration and prosthodontic replacement, right? To correct and modify complete restorations and to arrange artificial teeth. This is the design of articulator. It has a spacer, this area, this and this has spacer. Model mounting plate for the upper member, for the lower hinge axis, which represents the TMJ, shoulder or frames. This is used to tightening of mounting plates accordingly, anti-tipping rods, maxilla or upper frame. This is incisive rod, incisive pin, which we use for midline, incisive plate or base, where incisive pin rests. This is your mandibular frame or assembly, right? So there are various classifications of articulator, but the most acceptable is University of Michigan. In 1972, the articulators classified based on instrument capability, intent, recording procedure, record acceptance. Some articulators show three-dimensional movements, but some show only single-dimensional movements. So this is the most widely used classification. So there are various classes, class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. Let us discuss them one by one. First is your class 1 or hinge axis. Why hinge axis? Because it only simulates the hinge axis. It is very simple articulator. Only vertical motion is possible in this type of articulator, right? And only the articulator are used in cases where a tentative jaw relation is done. This is mainly used for crown and bridge purposes and operative instruments. The examples are slab articulator, hinge articulator, barn door articulator, and Guy's simplex articulator. You must remember these examples. Sometimes you will get questions. Then your class 2, which is arbitrary articulator. Why it is arbitrary? Because it permits horizontal and vertical movement and do not orient the movements to TMJ of Facebook. That means it doesn't allow FaceBo to record, right? So it is of various types. Type A, which permit limited eccentric motion based on average records. The condyles are on the lower member of the articulator. Examples are mean value articulator and Guy's articulator. Then your type B, limited eccentric motion is possible based on the theory of arbitrary motion. So what is theory of arbitrary motion and spherical theory of occlusion? Spherical theory of occlusion. Spherical theory of occlusion states that the lower teeth move over the surface of upper teeth as over a surface of sphere within a diameter of 8 inches. The center of the sphere was located in the region of the glabella. The surface of the sphere passed through the glenoid fossa along with the articular eminence. So let us draw one diagram over here. Suppose this is your orbit. This is again your orbit. You can very well imagine. This is your glabella. Now, this is your upper teeth and this is your lower teeth. This is your upper teeth and this is your lower teeth. From glabella, when we draw line, it makes a sphere of 8 inches diameter. So this is 4 inch, right? This is a spherical theory of occlusion. The examples are mean value articulator, spherical theory articulator, Fornet and Hagman articulator, Hall's articulator according to conical theory of Hall, right? Then your type C type, it again permit limited eccentric motion, but based on engraving records obtained from the patient. Examples are House articulator and Gnathic relator. Then your type 3, these articulators permit horizontal and vertical motion. They do accept FaceBo transfer, but up to limited extent, right? They cannot allow total customization of condylar path, that means, okay? They allow limited customization by using average or mechanical equivalents for the whole or part of the condylar motion. That means the instrument simulate condylar pathway up to limited extent, right? Then come the various types, type A and type B. So class 3 type A is somewhat advanced because it accepts static protrusive intraocclusal record registration and accept FaceBo transfer and use mechanical equivalents for other types of motion, except protrusive, static protrusive intraocclusal record. The examples are Hanau-H articulator, which is non-Arcan. We will discuss later on what we mean by Arcan and non-Arcan. You must remember these points. Hanau H2 articulator, non-Arcan, Bergstrom articulator, Arcan, and Dentatus, right? Then your class 3 type B, it accepts static protrusive intraocclusal records plus FaceBo transfer. Use equivalent for other types of motions. There are various examples of type 3 class 3 type B. Then come to your class 4. It is of special type because this articulator accepts three-dimensional dynamic registration. They are capable of accurately reproducing the condylar pathway for each patient. Till class 3, we can already record some motions, but in class 4, it is most advanced. So because it records three-dimensional dynamic registration and can reproduce condylar pathway in each patient, right? Allow for orientation of cast of temporomandibular joint and replication of all members of mandibular movements. The instrument of choice for complete denture reconstruction or complete reconstruction, or you can say complete rehabilitation. These instruments should hold adjustments, contain good centric locking mechanism so that we can hold the position of the condyle or the pathway at particular point. Versatile, that means we can use anywhere. Incisal guidance, we can modify the incisal guidance, and stable mounting features, and to be precision engineered, right? Then come to your class 4 type A. It accepts three-dimensional dynamic registration, use Facebook transfer. Condylar pathways are formed by registration engraved by the patient, and the path is non-modifiable in type A, right? But in type B, the same is their acceptance of three-dimensional dynamic registration utilizing a Facebook transfer. Condylar pathway can be selectively angled and customized. That means modified. This is the most advanced one. Class 4 type B, most advanced, right? In class 4 type A, there is non-modifiable pathway. But in case of type B, we can modify the pathway. Procedure utilize the pantographic tracing. As we have discussed in the last video, pantographic tracing is a three-dimensional tracing, right? So these are the various examples. You can learn them. Then come to your semi-adjustable articulator. As the name implies, that means this articulator is which we can adjust to some extent. They have adjustable condylar paths, adjustable lateral condylar paths, horizontal condylar paths, adjustable incisal guide table, adjustable intercondylar distance. The degree and ease of these adjustments differ because these are of two types, Archon type and non-Archon type. Okay, and it can accept all the three following records: phase bow, centric jaw relation, or protrusive record. These are three main records: phase bow, centric jaw relation, and protrusive record, right? So what do you mean by Archon type? This is again very important. In Archon type articulator, first of all, what do you mean by Archon? The term coined by Bergstrom. Right? And the word, from the word articulator and condyle. From the word, this is from articulator and this is from condyle. Right? This is your condylar element. This one, condylar element, which is attached to the lower member. And the condylar guidance is attached to upper member. Exactly opposite in non-Archon type. We will discuss later on. Okay. The condylar element is attached to the lower member of the articulator and the condylar guidance is attached to the upper member. The articulator resembles the temporomandibular joint. Here the condylar guidance, this is your condylar guidance, this one. This is your condylar guidance, is the mechanical analog of, very important, mechanical analog of glenoid fossa, right? This is condylar guidance. So what are the various advantages of Arkin type articulator? The phase bow transfer, occlusal plane, and the relationship of opposing cast are preserved when the articulator is open and closed. That means we can fix them. Then come to your non-Arkin type. It is exactly reverse to the TMJ or Arkin type. In this, the condylar element or analog sphere attached to the upper member and is movable. And the condylar guidance, the glenoid fossa, is attached to lower member, which is immovable. These are two articulated. This is Arkin type. This is non-Arkin type. Right. In this, you can see this is your condylar element, and this is your this whole space is your condylar guidance, which is attached to upper member. And your condylar, in this case, you can see the condylar guidance is attached to your lower member, and condylar element is attached to your upper member. This is the basic difference, right? Then come to your fully adjustable articulator. They are capable of being adjusted to follow the mandibular movement in all the directions, right? In all the directions. These articulators have numerous adjustable readings which can be customized for each patient. They do not have condylar guidance. Instead, they have receptacles in which acrylic dough can be contoured to form customized condylar and incisal guidance, right? It can accept the following 5 records: phase bow, centric jaw relation, protrusive records, lateral records, intercondylar distance records, so that we can record everything in this. And this is not commonly used because of complexity again. And class 4 articulator, which is a special articulator, is fully adjustable, right? These are the various examples: Pentronic articulator, gonethoscope, Denner simulator, and gonetholator. This is Denner, this is gonethoscope. So occlusion is defined as the static contact between the incising or masticating surface of maxillary and mandibular teeth. It is the static position. Okay. So there is another term that is called dental articulation. So dental articulation is which deals with the relationship of maxilla and mandible teeth. Okay. This is the relationship of upper and lower teeth. And this is your incising and masticating surface of maxillary and mandibular teeth. It is generally considered that the occlusion deals with the static relationship of opposing teeth, and the articulation deals with the dynamic relationship of opposing teeth. So we have to remember this is a dynamic relationship, and this is a static relationship, right? Occlusion is an important factor which governs the retention and stability of complete denture in vivo, right? The retention and stability in vivo, right? It is important for one to know the principles of occlusion, right, before arranging artificial teeth. Now, there are different types of occlusion: balanced occlusion, non-balanced occlusion, in which subheadings are centric occlusion, eccentric occlusion, and balanced side occlusion. Let us discuss them one by one. First is our balanced occlusion. What do you mean by balanced occlusion? Balanced occlusion is balance plus occlusion. So what is balance? Balance when the force act on a body in such a way that the no motion results. Just remember this point, no motion results. There is a balance or equilibrium. And what is occlusion? We have discussed that relationship between the occlusal surface of maxillary and mandibular teeth when they are in contact. That means in occlusion, there is contact and it should be balanced. That means there is no motion. So while occluding upper and lower teeth, if there is no motion, that means they are in static position. That is called balance occlusion, right? So balance occlusion can also be described as the position of teeth such that they have simultaneous contact in centric relation and provide smooth sliding motion to an eccentric position. Eccentric position, we have already discussed in last videos that any relation other than centric relation is eccentric relation. That means there must be smooth contact in centric relation and smooth sliding in eccentric position. In centric relation, there must be simultaneous contact. And in eccentric relation, there must be smooth sliding movement. Right? So, why it is important? What is the importance of balance occlusion? This is basically why it is important. See, balance occlusion is one of the most important factors that affect denture stability, right? And remember, the balance occlusion is absent in natural dentition. Absent in natural dentition. You may get the question, okay? Absent in natural dentition, that is your balance occlusion. So absence of occlusal balance will result in leverage of the denture. So it is present, it must be included in the denture to stabilize it, to retain it. Okay. So Shefford state that enter bolus, exit balance. So what is it? According to this statement, the balancing contact is absent when food enters the oral cavity, because we have to chew from one side. There is absence of balance occlusion. This makes us think that balance occlusion has no function during mastication. Hence, it is not essential in a complete denture. But this is not true. Why this is not true? Brewer reported that, what he reported the importance of balance occlusion. He reported that on an average, a normal individual makes masticatory tooth contact only for 10 minutes in one full day compared to 4 hours of tooth contact during function. That means 10 minutes, remember the 10 minutes while we masticating, remember the 4 hours of tooth contact. Balance occlusion is important to maintain the stability of denture, because balance occlusion is, we require balance occlusion for these 4 hours, right? Now come to maximum intercuspation. There are 3 terms: centric relation, centric occlusion, and maximum intercuspation. patient. Let us evaluate the not confused in these three terms. So what is maximum intercuspation? Maximum intercuspation is position of mandible when teeth are brought to full interdigitation with maximum number of teeth contacting. Right? This is a maximum intercuspation. Right? Then come to your centric occlusion. Centric occlusion is the occlusion of opposing teeth when the mandible is in centric relation. This may or may not coincide with maximum intercuspal position. Whereas centric occlusion is the tooth-to-tooth relationship, whereas centric relation is static position or bone-to-bone relationship. Now, what is centric relation? Basically, the centric relation is, we have already discussed this, it is the maxillomandibular relationship in which the condyle articulates with the thinnest avascular portion of their respective discs, right? With the complex in anterior superior position against the slope of articular eminence. And this position is independent of tooth contact. That means here the condyle position is fixed, independent of occlusion contact, right? So this is fixed. This remains fixed whole of life. Now, we will discuss about the centric occlusion. So what is centric occlusion? Centric occlusion, basically, it is the tooth-to-tooth contact, simultaneous contact of tooth, right? That means it is bone-to-bone relationship and it is tooth-to-tooth relationship. If there is difference between centric occlusion and centric relation position, it may result in pain or many other factors, right? But if there is minor difference, then condyles settle down to the position accordingly, which is called as adaptive centric position. Or ACP. Remember this also. Sometimes you will get this question directly. Okay. Now come to balanced occlusion, which is very important concept in regard to our denture making. It is defined as the simultaneous contacting of maxillary and mandibular teeth on right and left side in posterior and anterior occlusal area in centric and eccentric positions. Now come to objectives of balanced occlusion. There are basic objectives. It improves the stability of the denture. It reduces the resorption of residual ridge and soreness of residual ridge because there is a uniform distribution of forces. Improve the oral comfort and well-being of the patient. Now, what are the characteristics of balanced occlusion? All the teeth of working side should glide evenly against the opposing teeth. You can see here. No single tooth should produce any interference or disocclusion on other teeth. There should be contact in balancing side, but they shouldn't interfere with smooth gliding motion of working side. There should be simultaneous contact during protrusion. Right. What is the working side and non-working side? Working side, when mandible moves towards lateral side, the side toward which the mandible moves is working side, and the non-working side is other side, where there we can see the disocclusion. Now, there are various types of balanced occlusion. First is your unilateral occlusion balance. It is present when occlusal surface of teeth of on one side articulate simultaneously as a group with smooth, uninterrupted glide. That means it is group function, right? In this type of occlusion, we can see one side when they occlude simultaneously a smooth, uninterrupted glide. This is a type of occlusion seen on occlusal surfaces of teeth on one side when they occlude simultaneously with a smooth, uninterrupted glide. This is not followed during complete denture construction. It is mainly you can see in fixed partial dentures. Then come to your bilateral balance occlusion. Bilateral balance occlusion is present in complete denture. So this is present when there is equilibrium on both sides. Equilibrium on both sides of denture due to simultaneous contact of teeth in centric and eccentric positions. That means there must be simultaneous contact of teeth in centric relation and smooth gliding in eccentric position. It requires a minimum of 3-point contact. One in anterior region, two in posterior region. Right. For minimal occlusal balance, this is must. And if more the number of contacts, better the balance.